What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we're going to get back into the XFL. If you were part of the live stream yesterday, I really thank you guys. It was a fun experience. Listen, I appreciate everyone sticking around. I know I had some issues. It was the first time that I tried it, and hey, it was a new setup, something different. Yeah, so I appreciate you guys sticking around for all of the technical issues, all of the problems that I had, us having to stop it and restart it. But listen, it was a good couple of hours. It was fun. I loved interacting with everyone, all of the questions. Yeah, we just had... At least I had a fun time. I hope you had a fun time with it last night. And listen, what I'm looking to do here going forward is maybe we'll just make Wednesday night our night. I definitely want to go ahead and, maybe do some things and I'd love to kind of continue doing that. That was really fun. At least I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did, to where it'd be something that we can, kind of do more on a regular basis and maybe make it Wednesday nights. Cause I guess I know that the guys over at the XFL Chalk Talk, I guess they do their thing on Tuesday. So that you guys can be a part of both of them. Because listen, the fact is that I want to support the XFL and the community around the XFL. So we'll go ahead and we'll support the XFL Chalk Talk, and we'll support those guys over there. And just support everybody that's just, talking about putting out the name for the XFL and putting, good content out there for the XFL. Speaking of good content for the XFL, Strong Opinion Sports, go check him out on YouTube. Zach does a really good job over there. Been putting out some really good content, especially on the XFL. He's got a really good take on things, and he's definitely one of those guys that's really supporting the league and really pushing the league. So he's somebody that I want to support and I want to push. And remember, guys, any way you can support the league, support the league. That's all I'm asking. It's good football, it's fun football, and more people just need to experience. It's one of those things that it's like, once you try it, I think you'll actually like it. The hard part sometimes is getting to people like past those things that they have in their mind to try something. Is it just the best football I've ever seen in my entire life? No, but it's fun. Every game I've watched has been fun. It's been something neat, something different, and I've really liked the experience. And most of the people that actually try the XFL really do like it. Now, I know that there are a few of you out there that have expressed to me that you don't like it, and that's perfectly fine. And it's not for everybody. But I can tell you that it's good football. And I get sick and tired of talking about and dispelling all the naysayers and all this and that. We're not going to get into that in this video. We'll continue on down that road another time and that with it. I just want you guys to support the community, and I do really appreciate everyone supporting me and what we're doing here, but definitely support the XFL community and do what you can. Spread the word out. Tell people about it. You don't have to spend money, and there are tons of us that just are too far away to really go to the games and be part of that. But support it however you can. Get the word out there. Your opinion matters, especially in today's day and age. I mean, if you have any link to the internet, you have a smartphone, listen, you can make an impact by just putting your opinion out there. You don't necessarily need to talk in front of a camera like me or some of the other people, but your comments, your views, they all matter. And so I appreciate the support, and I just appreciate like all of us kind of coming together as this XFL community of just fans and really just pouring on the love. And we need to keep continuing doing that and just keep bringing more people into the fold. And I think it's going to be great, and I think it's going to be fantastic. So yeah, we're just going to continue on because I totally blew through the whole intro, my normal intro. Listen, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. All right? There, fair enough. And listen, I definitely I do shout out. So leave me comments down in the comment section. I'd love to get out to all your comments. We went through a lot of questions yesterday, and I really do appreciate all of you guys getting your stuff out there. But if I missed something yesterday or you guys have comments, leave them down in the comment section. I will try to get to them and answer them. And with some of those, I'll definitely feature them. So be watching out for that stuff as well. All right, let's go ahead and let's look at some news that's come out. We don't have a whole lot, but we do have some that we need to cover. Now, the XFL on the 24th, so that was a couple days ago on Monday, they came out and with 3 new trademarks. And the trademarks are inside the XFL Trenches, XFL Showcase, and the XFL Showcase. When I look at these things, it looks like to me that it's some type of either like a TV show. I don't know. When I see these names, I feel like it's going to be some show for the XFL. That's the way that I look at it, and that's just kind of what I think with this. And I'm going to go off on a tangent here because there really isn't a whole lot to talk about that other than this. The Vince McMahon and Oliver Luck have more in mind for the XFL than what a lot of us, and especially the national media, has in their minds of doing things. Let's go back to Vince McMahon's, his days with the professional wrestling, where it was and where he's taken his brand of, and again, this has nothing to do with anything of me liking Mr. McMahon or not, or liking his product or thinking his product has gotten worse, better, or anything. We're just going to go a little bit through the history and what's been built in the past. All right, the past has a lot to say, and I don't want to get into minutia with all of this stuff and talking about this or that or whatever. What I do want to say is this is a man who took a regional wrestling company and over the course of years has developed it into the biggest brand. Now, when I say that, I'm not just talking about a brand as in just, growing it to national size and becoming bigger and larger. No, what he did was he took a regional company, became the largest company, and pretty much bought out and he took out all of his competitors, took that brand and made it this juggernaut that's almost comprised of like 3 different brands now. They have their own network, and it's almost like they have this universe that they've built out of wrestling. Now, I've skipped a whole lot through that, but I say that to say this. That is what they're trying to do with the XFL. McMahon, the NFL is this huge mantra, and he's not even trying to attack that. What they're trying to do is build the XFL brand. The whole thing, listen, the XFL is kind of fragile. I think that there are a few things that some people get wrong. The XFL is funded for at least 2 seasons, up to 3 seasons, depending upon how they spend the money. They could stay in business without making a dime for 3 seasons. That's been out there. That's been said before. So them getting to season 2, I'm not necessarily worried about. The things that they need to do, though, are build the business, build the brand. Through that, how does that look? What does that entail? I think part of it is that they're kind of trying to build these shows and build these products that revolve around the XFL, giving the fan, again, that access that we want and that we like. That you can say what you want about the football on the field on Sunday, but what we got on the sidelines, man, that was fun to watch. And if we get more of that access and more into that, we're going to be drawn in more and more and more into this product and be more and more invested in this product. And I love that, to where we can get into the ins and outs of football. And two, I want to see I want it all, right? Why not have it all, right? So when we're looking at this, I want the play on the field. I want the breakdown of the play on the field. I want the fantasy football analysts. I want, the the reality TV show of what's going on, the behind the scenes of, the fighting, the guys yelling, the talks of, about these crucial things and all that. I want all of that, and bring it to me in a whole big package. I'll eat it all up. And so they're trying to build this juggernaut that is more than just a minor league product that they're putting out there. They're trying to get people invested in it, and they're trying to build sponsorships. They're trying to build this universe like what they have, like what McMahon has with the WWE. Now, it's going to be different. It's going to be its own thing, and it has its own challenges that the WWE didn't have, but it has some advantages that it didn't have. But what they're trying to do is build this brand, and I don't think that the national media and most of the places don't realize what they're trying to do. They're trying to go out on their own, make this own product, what it is, and its own thing, to where it's living independently of the NFL. And people are enjoying it independently of the NFL. That it doesn't have really any bearings upon, what the NFL is or what the NFL is doing. Now, I think that it's got some vulnerabilities? Yes, it does. When we get to the offseason, this first offseason, how personnel is handled, and, what guys can they keep in the league? What guys are going to go? Player turnover. Are these going to be new teams every year? How is that going to work? Are they going to be able to pay guys more money? That's all going to come into question. And looking at how they're going to view that and how they're going to do that. And then you add in expansion teams, if they decide to expand, and what all that means. And that's kind of stuff that's tied to football and football in and of itself. But this is more tied into kind of putting together the product that is around the football, to give us that content, to give us that information, to give us that access, to give us the stuff that we're wanting to see, that extra, that we don't a lot of times get with the NFL, that transparency with the referees, those interviews, and probably add more is probably what I'm thinking they're doing with these shows. So it's just another step in them creating this brand that is more than just minor league football. And I think people are being so narrow-minded right now about things, and part of it is like, guys are coming, like, I love it because, each day we're getting more and more new people that are coming in and seeing the XFL, seeing the product and liking it. And once they actually give it a shot. I mean, I'm watching a YouTube video of a guy out there who's supposed to be an expert in the field. And here I go again on one of my tangents, and I apologize, but I just have to say this. He's supposed to be an expert in the field, and he breaks all of this down and tells me exactly what the league is in 5 minutes off of one play he watched from a bar. One play he watched from a bar, he was able to figure out everything that's going on. We can't have that. But getting back to my point, when people are coming in, they're new to this. Some of you guys have been around for a long time, and especially if you've been around my channel for a long time, for months we've been covering the XFL, all the ins and outs and all the little bits and pieces. Not everybody knows that stuff. And so as things are going, sometimes it does get frustrating because not everybody knows all the inner workings and all that's kind of been going on throughout the process of things. So sometimes they're getting some of the information, incorrect. And, one of the things is will they have a second year? They're going to have a second year. It's whether or not it's going to be lucrative and that they're going to build the brand up to something better is the question. And be able to expand the XFL. So I think that this is a good thing, is showing that, they're looking forward, they're thinking forward, they're trying to build the brand, they're trying to build more of the product and give people more of what they want, and more fans are showing up and more people are liking it. So it's definitely something great. It's good. I'm really looking forward to see what this XFL universe looks like in 2 and 3 years, and that it's really become its own monster, and how that really shifts the whole workings of football. You've heard me talk about this. Listen, More football opportunities, more opportunities for people to play football is just better all of the way around. We get more people on the football field, whether it be college players coming up, pro players who would be sitting, coming to the XFL as opposed to playing in the NFL. It just is better for everyone. And when we can start to get people to start looking at it that way. Now, I do feel like, and if you paid attention to kind of the CBA talks and what they've been looking at, they've been looking at expanding the rosters for the NFL, and they're also looking at going from 52-man to 55-man, and also the guys who can be active from 46, I think, up to like 50, something like that. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. Again, more guys on the active roster that they can sign, that they can keep from going to the XFL. Let's go to the practice squads. They want to take the practice squads from 12 guys to 14 guys. That's 2 more guys that they can keep in their pocket from the XFL. Translate that, that's 64 more guys across the board. You take 65 more guys, and you've got your guys like PJ Walker. And all of a sudden, you start looking at your stars of the XFL, and now they're gone and on practice squads again, buried, and we never get to see good football play again. The other thing that they're looking at doing, which is a huge deal, is right now the guys who are on futures contracts and who are on the practice squad, they are not part of the players union at all. So they are not they're not covered under the players association. They're not under them to where they don't get the benefits of being part of the players association. With that, now some of them who have played in the NFL and have, depending upon their contracts, if they paid in, are part of the Players Association. But most of those practice guys aren't. They're looking at possibly bringing them in, maybe some limited memberships, giving them some benefits, but not all of it. I'm telling you, a lot of this, they're not going to come out and say this. A big part of it is that the owners want to make more money by extending the season. The players don't necessarily want to play more, and that's been a big deal from day one. But they haven't really been big on expanding players either. A lot of this is coming from the XFL. The XFL is taking they're worried about the XFL taking their players. They're not going to come out and say it, and it's not a huge deal. And I'm not talking about taking guys from like their actual active roster squads. I'm talking about those guys that they need to keep daily business and to keep practices moving, and those guys that they're keeping in reserve. That's what they're looking at right now. And so kind of keeping and following those things. It'll be interesting to see what all happens with the CBA. In that with it, but I'm just starting to see these little things that are trickling in there that I'm like, I got it. I see what's going on there. So that's interesting. Let's move on to player personnel things going on right now, and we've got some sad news. So we found out Eric Dungy's going to be left the team again, and so kind of everything came out that his father's pretty much been battling cancer, so he's been going and spending time with his father, and he's going to be spending time with his family as his father has passed. So my condolences go out to the Dungy family, with the loss of their father, and that. So they Brogan Roback, they brought him back in, and I don't think that's going to change a whole lot. Landry Jones is the dude there, but Eric Dungy, I think once this is done, he'll be back with the team full go, and he'll definitely be their backup from then on out. In sadder news, not sadder news, but for football purposes, I don't mean that. I apologize, walking over words, not saying my stuff right. But in other news that's more injury related, Nelson Spruce is going to be out this week, which I think is going to be a big deal for LA. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal for them in actually winning the game. Nelson Spruce is their heart and soul when it comes to the wide receiving core. Now, this past week, Trey McBride stepped up, played really, really well, and he's definitely going to probably be getting a lot more targets now that Nelson Spruce is out. So you draft guys, DraftKings guys, he might be somebody you might want to look up on a high with that. And I do want to apologize to you guys. I really this past week tried to look into like DraftKings, FanDuel, one-day fantasy teams and stuff like that. The thing is like I don't do that stuff. And so I went on their sites to try to get the information, try to look at it to, kind of figure out what all they got. And everything that I did, they wanted me to sign up and do it. And I just wasn't going to sign up, for any of that and to do it. So I apologize, all that you guys out there that are wanting me to look at what would be the best value guys and things like that. I'll give you guys that I think that, are rising stars kind of in my mind. As I see fantasy football, I mean, I get the whole concept. Don't get me wrong. I get the whole concept of the fantasy football, the day teams and things like that. The problem is if I don't have the data in front of me of what a player costs and opposed to other players and I can't get in and look at all that data and that with it and put it together, I'm just not going to be able to actually give you guys an informed opinion with that. Now, if you can find ways for me to look at that data without signing in and you can get it to me, hit me up down in the comment section and I'll try to do that for you. But I apologize. I did look into it. I wasn't going to sign up and create any accounts on any of that. I just didn't want to mess with any of that, especially since I know all of their stuff you have to pay money to do anything with. So I just didn't want to get into it and open up that can of worms. I got enough stuff going on that I didn't want to deal with that. Now, the last thing that I want to cover in news is an interesting story that's been kind of transpiring over the last day. We kind of heard rumors yesterday, and then it kind of officially hit today that Quinton Flowers, he's left the team for personal reasons. We don't know when he'll be back. We don't know if he'll be back. We heard from Trestman that he's day-to-day and that he's looking hopefully that he'll be back to play and be available on Saturday. What does this say to me? Let's first say that there have been rumors and information going around that Quinton Flowers has been frustrated with his position on the team and the playing time. He doesn't feel like he's been getting his fair shake with it, and so that's just been rumors. And different sources have put that out there. But this for me really draws some red flags on Tampa Bay. Now, you know that I am a guy who really hasn't been high on Tampa Bay from the get-go. I thought they played really well last week, and in all honesty, they got that last drive. They needed him, his dynamic play, and I think if he would have been in the game, they could have scored the touchdown and put themselves in the position to tie the game. Once they got down there around the goal line there, they fell apart. And so, I'm not one that Quinton Flowers is the greatest thing since sliced bread and he is the next great quarterback. But what I am going to say is that Quinton Flowers has played well for them when he's been in there. Now he's made some mistakes, but the other quarterbacks have made mistakes as well. And so it really has me curious to what is Trestman wanting to do with this offense and where is he wanting to go? Because you can definitely see they're still shifting some personnel. They're still bringing some people in, especially some wide receivers and things. It just looks like they don't necessarily think they have the personnel exactly right now, and they've been doing some changes, and again, all the teams are doing some changes, and so with that. But when I look at Quinton Flowers, he was 4 for 6 last week and looked fairly decent. Had the one nice play to Smith, and ran that drive fairly well, getting them down there into scoring position. But listen, he only played 2 drives. He's been getting less. He got less play than he did in week 2. Cornelius looked a little better, but Cornelius didn't look like he was anything great. I mean, if it were me, I probably would have let Flowers just let it fly and see where the chips land. Because with a guy like Flowers, he is going to be feast or famine. You're going to have plays like with Frazier intercepting him, and literally just landing in the end zone. You're going to have plays like that, but you're also going to have dynamic plays where he's a super athletic guy, and he's going to make athletic plays that other guys aren't going to make. So you're going to get those other things. And the question is do the dynamic plays outweigh the bad plays? And we just haven't seen enough of him to really determine that. Like I said, he was 4 for 6. That's pretty decent. Didn't throw an interception. Looked okay throwing the ball. I didn't see anything crazy. Cornelius, I'm still... I thought he got better as the game went on. I don't have, all the faith in him though with this. What this says to me more than anything else is that Flowers isn't what Trestman's wanting for one reason or another, and that he would rather go with a traditional style quarterback than to go with Flowers. He feels like his offense will run better with the traditional style quarterback, even if he isn't what they need. Now, the other elephant in the room is that Aaron Murray is still out for another week. I mean, his ankle's that bad that he's supposedly practicing, but they've already ruled him out for Saturday's game. Cornelius has already been named the starter, and that probably could be what we're seeing and could be the nail in the coffin for Quentin Flowers. The thing that I see is this could be bad for Tampa Bay, and this. Unfortunately, this information, especially this early on in the week, could hurt them on getting those other fans there, those guys who are excited, who want to see Quentin Flowers, want to see that. Listen, when Cornelius was bad, they were booing him. I mean, booing him so bad you could hear it on the TV, and they were shouting for Flowers. The fans were super high on Flowers. And if he's not going to be part of this team, they might lose the fans real fast. And especially if Cornelius doesn't play well. I mean, Cornelius played okay, but I mean, it wasn't anything that I'd be calling home about, saying that that's really good quarterback play, or he played excellent, or he settled in. He really didn't. And when they needed him to step up, like, he was a lame duck. It is what it is. And you're down there on the goal line, and if you're putting the ball in his hands 3 times and you can't score, one, it's telling me that you have more faith in him than your 2 good running backs in Patrick and Smith. They both run well. They're both hard-nosed runners. They both get a lot of yards after contact. And so when you're that close and you don't even give those guys a shot, and you're putting it on your backup quarterbacks, putting it on his shoulders to win you the game, and I guess you feel that that's there for you, and he doesn't pull through, and he didn't step up to the occasion. He had the ball in his hand, he had the opportunity to make the play, and it wasn't there. So, I'm kind of disappointed, in it. I was kind of starting to maybe Tampa Bay's figuring some things out with this and that, and just the way that this is, I'm losing faith in them again. So it's kind of one of those things to where I'm about it. So I know we've talked a lot, but we're going to go ahead. We're going to move on to the my power rankings for this week. And for this week, there's a lot of moving and shaking in the power rankings. And I'm just going to start off with, listen, I know that number 8, I've got New York Guardians, and I know that they have a win and they beat Tampa Bay, but I still think that Tampa Bay is in a better place than New York is. New York needs to get some crap together. It was really bad on the sidelines. It looked really bad. Who knows? I mean, they could possibly turn things around this week, and especially, I think Luis Perez needs to get the start. I think if they start anybody else, I don't think that they're going to have a shot to win. And not that I think that Luis Perez is that much better than the other guys. I just think that Luis Perez, I think that he's just a better leader for them right now in the place where they're at, and I think that he'll get better results than the other guys. yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about the Guardians. Let's move to number 7. Number 7 is Tampa Bay Vipers, and a lot of what we just talked about is a lot of the reasons why they're there. On paper, this Tampa Bay team doesn't look that bad, but when you see things, you're like, oh, they're 0-3. It surprises you, but a lot of it has to do with inconsistency across the board. Inconsistent, and a lot of it has to stem from the coaches. The coaches have not been consistent. They've been trying things and changing things in and out here and there, and they never really get into a groove. It seems to be once they start to do something, one or two bad plays happen, and then they completely change and shuffle everything around and keep shuffling until something works. And then once they see any signs of break, they shuffle it up again. And I think that that's really hurt them this season. I think that they could legitimately be 2-1 right now had they have kind of got some things figured out. And I think that we never really got to see Flowers do his thing. If he could have quite possibly been the quarterback, and we would be talking about him and PJ Walker, being the dynamic guys in the league. But I think because they never really gave him an opportunity to really get comfortable and never let him have the reins, everything they did was always just something that was more limiting of him and really more safe stuff. And I think that hurt them, and right now with the news that's coming out, especially with Aaron Murray, who's supposed to be their guy, out another week, that just doesn't bode well for me. I've got them at number 7. Number 6 is the Seattle Dragons. Seattle Dragons, I think that they're a decent team. They've just got a tough road to hoe here, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going around whether or not B.J. Daniels should start at quarterback. It should be the quarterback. I don't think that Silvers is playing bad, but he's not stepping up. He needs to figure out and start slinging the ball around the field, and if he doesn't, he needs to be benched because him not opening up the field and really extending the field is really allowing them to key on their other strengths and take those things out. And if you don't have a deep ball to counter that, that's not going to be good for them. I'd really like to see B.J. Daniels get a shot. We heard all this buzz in preseason, about how in training camp, there was a quarterback, fight there. I would like to see something different. The other thing with them is Mike Riley's been away from the team. And so Jim Zorn's kind of had to get used to this thing. So, maybe another week with Jim Zorn figuring out things and getting used to, Riley's system with Mike Riley being out. Hopefully, maybe that might make some impact or some difference there. I don't know. We'll see. They intrigue me. And I think they have personnel to do well. I think that talent-wise, they're more limited, and Brandon Silvers, I think right now, is limiting them. So if they can either one, and it might be due to play calling, what's going on there, Jim Zorn not really knowing the system, keeping things a little bit more vanilla, but they need to open things up for that offense for them to succeed there. So I've got them at number 6. Number 5, I've got the DC Defenders. And some of you guys might think that that's crazy. Listen, the DC Defenders could rebound this week and move right back up to number 2. Could easily do that. But with the way that they got spanked last week and the way that they looked, I need to see something out of them this week before I really put my full trust and faith back into them. They had 2 really good games at home, and granted, I'll give them credit. They went across the country and played a game across the country. It's their first away game, and that with it, they get punched in the mouth. Let's see what happens. But listen, you got punched in the mouth, you got knocked on the canvas, and that's what's going to happen. So right now I've got them at number 5. Do I think that they're really going to end up at number 5? No. I think that they're a really good team. I think they're going to bounce back. But right now, from what I've seen, and with LA beating them up like they did, you kind of deserve to be where you are. That's pretty much it. I mean, it wasn't a game. Cardell Jones fell flat on his face, and they just looked really, really bad. And so hopefully they turn things around this week. We'll move them back up. But hey, that's the whole beauty and joy of power rankings, right? We can kind of do what we want, and I can kind of make up whatever I want. So that's what I'm making up. DC's number 5. Number 4, I've got the LA Wildcats, and pretty much for a lot of what we just said last week, listen, they're putting things together. And this team is really buying into Winston Moss. I was really shocked. I saw the wheels starting to fall off. And listen, he pulled everything together. He circled the wagons and got everybody on the same page. And a lot of it has to do with that and the fact that Josh Johnson is leading this offense, and this offense is looking good. The thing that I question is that when Hood gets healthy, are they going to throw Hood back in and pull Mr. Excitement back out? If they pull Montez Carter out, I think that they're making a big mistake. Hood has not looked good at all, either running the ball or holding onto the ball. The guy is a fumble hazard. Carter is running hard. He was effective out of the backfield as he looked really good. If you ask me, he's my guy going forward. Now I do know that this week they're going to be without Nelson Spruce, so Smallwood, and the rest of the guys are going to need to step it up here. But at number 4, part of it is why I've got them at 4 too, is I like their schedule going forward here. I could see them, the way that they're looking, I could easily see them walking to 4-2, coming out 4-2 really, really nicely. And we're looking at things, and now, they're fighting for the top of the West. And so that's why I've got them where they are. Number 3, Dallas Renegades. Listen, each week they seem to get better and better and better, and they're figuring more and more out. And I'm just waiting for Cameron Artis Payne to break that 100-yard rushing mark. I really want him to. The thing is, Dallas is that they've got to do, and what's got them at number 3, they need to start faster. Landry Jones needs to come out of the gate and slinging the ball, throwing, and not making errors. If they can do that, they're going to really start blowing out some teams. This is going to be a barn burner this weekend, and this weekend's really going to tell where all the teams are going to fall, because there's going to be some big shakeups this week with this big shootout here in Dallas. We got Houston and Dallas, and this is definitely going to be Texas football, boys. It's going to be a must-watch TV, and it's really going to show us where the top of these standings, where these guys sit, and so we've got a juggernaut of a match that I'm really looking forward to. But Dallas needs to just start earlier, and Landry Jones needs to just quit making the mistakes. But hopefully, it seems to be, as the weeks are going on, he's progressing better, and they're starting to really figure out exactly what their identity is and how they are, and they're starting now to get the big tight end Parham in there and that. So they're starting to figure out their guys in that. So I like Dallas and number 3, and I could see them possibly moving up, but they got, like I said, Houston, which is a tough task. Number 2, I got the St. Louis Battlehawks. That was electric last week. I know that it was really a blowout there against New York and that, but man, it was a fun game to watch. I loved every minute of it. I loved what they're doing. Their identity is running the ball. They like running the ball. Teamu Ta'amu, he's been doing fantastic. He's playing really, really good ball. He's a fantastic quarterback. He knows what to do. He doesn't make mistakes. He does what he needs to do to get things done, and he does well under pressure, as some of the other quarterbacks in this league kind of have some struggles with. But the guy's got ice water in his veins, throws a pretty ball, makes really good decisions. And so if they can keep that running game going, keep those guys healthy, that's really a key for them. Is, they've got Ford hurt, and Jones has been battling some stuff, and you've got and last week was the first week that I actually saw Kristen Michael actually run really well. So if they can get Jones and Michael running really well, kind of a two-headed monster there, and you add Ta'amu on there for just this the cherry on top. They could quite possibly, and them being in the East with some weaker teams, week 7, they could possibly have the East wrapped up. But yeah, I like what they're doing. We'll continue to watch them, and then And number one, Houston Roughnecks. Listen, they've been playing some great ball. I know some of you guys, you Houston fans, you're really worried about the defense. Don't be worried. Don't be worried about the defense. That is a talented Tampa Bay team that's starting to figure some things out. Like I said, I'm starting to question what's going on, but they've got that Tampa Bay defense is a really good defense, and that offense started to figure some things out last week. It was just a matter of time. Listen, they've been putting up yards on everybody. It was just a matter of time before they actually started scoring some points. And, the floodgates could open this week, and Cornelius could play fantastic. And, it could be, everybody else watch out in the league, and they could go on a tear. With that Tampa Bay team, I could see that happening to where I'm not as worried about that Houston team. The thing that I really like is they've got a really good, strong defensive line that can really get a good rush with only 4 guys. And so I'm not necessarily as worried about them. PJ Walker's playing fantastic. Phillips, all of the guys. The only thing that you could say is maybe, open up the run game more, but when they're passing like they are, it is what it is. Butler, I think, has been doing a fantastic job. They haven't really figured out getting Williams in there that with it, but with what they've been doing, I would imagine that Holly's another guy I would watch to possibly see if they, this week especially, put more on Holly and kind of put the spotlight more on him this week and try to get the ball to him more. He didn't really get the ball that much last week, to where I think that they could use him more as a workhorse this week. So he might be another one of those fantasy guys you look at if he's, lower cost than some of the other guys, because I think that he could be a guy that they're trying to target and get the ball to in just some creative ways, in that he's a ball player. So let's go and let's recap things real quick here. New York Guardians, number 8. Number 7, I got the Tampa Bay Vipers. Number 6, Seattle Dragons. Number 5, the DC Defenders, and I know some of you guys are going to like me for that, but hey. Number 4, the LA Wildcats. Number 3, the Dallas Renegades. Number 2, St. Louis Battlehawks. And number 1, Houston Roughnecks. And that is our Week 4 power rankings. Listen, I appreciate every one of you guys watching. Remember, we still have for the rest of the month, which is only a few more days, we've got the giveaway happening. So if you haven't subscribed, I'll put the link down in the video to go ahead. You can go watch that video, leave a comment on that video. That'll get you entered in for the giveaway. All the details of the giveaway are in that video, so watch that video. And yeah, guys, loving it. I appreciate all the support. And so that's pretty much it. All right, well, I know that you're busy. I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night.